253 DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Good Friday morning. Easter weekend, gorgeous weather, beautiful stuff. 3 great NCAA Sweet 16 games, 1 mauling. Ooh. Can anyone beat UConn? The more I see, even with their big man not being as efficient as normal, the more I see, the more I believe. 30-point win, that's 9 straight NCAA victories by double digits. That was against the team they beat last year in the final game, this one in the Sweet 16, and UConn is amazing. Clemson is in the Elite Eight. Clemson! You remember? The Memphis Tigers beat the Clemson Tigers. What I thought was really interesting last night is all the Clemson fans cheering ACC, ACC. You remember they just sued the ACC to get the heck out of there. Is that weird conference pride or what? Crazy. And Alabama over North Carolina, and a kid named Grant Nelson has now become a household name. A kid from South Dakota. Skinny guy. They called him Fragile. He wasn't fragile last night. Double-double, 5 blocks. He was the reason that number 1 North Carolina went down. So the SEC at this point still has 2 teams left out of the 12 that are remaining. Of course, great games tonight for sure. Last night, though, Clemson over number 2 Arizona. That was a pretty good game. Clemson was pretty much in control the whole way. That's by 5, 77-72. The UConn mauling over San Diego State, 82-52. It could have been more, I swear. Alabama gets the job done, 89-87. Here's the most interesting thing. They're great. College center. I don't know what it'll be like as a pro. Baycott fumbles away the chance to tie the game. They turn it over. Love and Baycott, ooh, man. Not Love. R.J. Davis and Baycott. R.J. Davis, oh, my gosh. R.J. Davis, 0 for 10 from 3? And finally, at the end, he said, the heck with the threes, I'll start driving. And that worked out a little bit better. But he's the one that delivered it to Baycott who didn't handle it. And Alabama, with Nelson being so good, is a winner. And then Illinois really dominated early. Iowa State made a run, but Illinois is a winner. So 72-69, that's your final in that one. So every one of the worst seeds, the 6 over the 2 in Clemson over Arizona. Of course, the UConn is number 1. They're just different. 4 Alabama over 1 UNC. 3 Illinois over 2 Iowa State. That was supposed to be the closest of the games. But the lower seeds minus UConn all were the better teams. So does that mean today NC State beats Marquette? Does that mean Gonzaga is going to beat Purdue? Number 4 Duke over Houston? A lot of people think that's going to happen. I don't. And then number 3, Creighton over 2 Tennessee. That would be like the Illinois win yesterday. I don't know. I think that is going to be an outstanding game. I think Tennessee is going to have to shoot better than they have in this tournament, but they certainly are capable of doing that. Yesterday, opening day, lots of great stories. We're about to speak with our good friend Tim Doolin on baseball here in just a moment. Andy Schiffman on the NBA. That'll come at the bottom of the hour. And then we always end our week with Brian Takis. You listen to him every day with Brett on Sportstime here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. So the Cardinals and the Dodgers yesterday, and it was Los Angeles who winner there. The Cubs go to the defending champion Texas Rangers ballpark, and they go to extra innings, and it's the Rangers that take the first good step of the year. Arizona. This is why we love baseball, right? You will see just about every day something happens that you've never seen before. Arizona yesterday scored 14 runs in the third inning. Zach Boyd, quick question. You know the last time anybody scored 14 runs in an inning on opening day?
No.
1900.
Yeah.
Just 124 years ago. That's what you love about baseball. They find every stat, every way, which way you could go. Here's another one that happened yesterday. There's the first time in history Boston Red Sox outfielder Tyler O'Neill hit a home run. That is the fifth consecutive opening day that the Boston Red Sox slugger has hit a dinger on the very first game of the year. No one before in the history of Major League Baseball had ever done that. And then maybe my favorite story is the A's fans who are protesting because, you know, Oakland is moving to Vegas probably next year. So they had a pretty good contingent. I think their opening day crowd was listed at 13,000. Now, I understand the frustration of the Oakland fans. It's been their team. It's been their team forever. But if we're being totally honest, government's supposed to deliver. And the government in the city of Oakland has said, we got a lot more important things to worry about than coddling and paying for a professional owner who's got billions and pay for everything that he should put money into. And so that owner is saying, fine, don't. Vegas will. And they're giving them a whole bunch of money and building a new stadium. But the fans who've been loyal, they've been less and less in numbers because the stadium really is atrocious. So a number of fans went to the ballpark. They had a orchestrated party with food and bands and a DJ and just a good old time. And I don't know how many thousands were there, but they basically came to the ballpark because they've been doing that forever on opening day. That's their religious ritual. They've been there on opening day every day. This time they came, but they wouldn't go in. It's an interesting story. And again, it kind of comes back to let's even what is going on here. How much does government have to pay to keep a team to stay? That's just an overriding theme, and I hate to say it, it is the theme of modern day. The government pays to have the amenity that is called professional sport. Speaking of which, opening day for the Redbirds today, 3 o'clock, an afternoon game. And I was reading an excellent story. Craig Unger has been asking, because the ballpark's not 25 years old. And as he says, the bones at AutoZone Park are terrific. But there's a need for a lot of fixing up. Seats, concourses have been fixed up a little bit. The scoreboard was terrible a couple of years ago. And he was hoping for some money, which, of course, is not going to go at all to AutoZone Park. It is going to FedEx Forum and to the Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. How much money they need, how many phases they can do this in, still all questionable. And I know Craig Unger said he's working with the mayor of Memphis, Paul Young, to try to figure that out, what kind of money they can get. They've got plans. They've presented them to the mayor. We'll have to wait and see. I do believe this. The complete comeback of downtown Memphis was in part because of AutoZone Park. Now, make no mistake, the redoing of the Peabody and the redoing of Beale Street, even after Mud Island, was not necessarily a complete success. But those two things that I mentioned, the Peabody and Beale Street, helped to revitalize downtown. But AutoZone Park is a big part of that, let's say, triumvirate. And so I do think there is a need to keep that thing a gem, because it was a gem. It was the most amazing, best built, most expensive minor league ballpark of all time. It was the most beautiful ballpark in the minor leagues at one time, and it needs to be in that grouping because it's important, I think, to downtown as well. You've got 70-some dates where people come downtown to watch the Redbirds, and if we keep it really nice, more and more people will continue to come. I think it's important. I really do. I don't know how much you say to the ownership group of Craig Unger. You got to pitch in something too, and maybe that's the way it should be. We're saying the same thing to Robert Perro. Where's his contribution? Of course, it's none. But I do believe if you're an owner, there should be at least a partnership in all of this. In the meantime, I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studio. Don't forget the factory direct pricing sale on swimming pools, spas, patio furniture, all is coming together just like they do at I-40 and Wooden Road with all their sales, with all their beautiful, beautiful pieces like patio furniture and all state-of-the-art with all the new materials. The swim spas and the spas, you can save $1,000 to $5,000 during the sale. All you got to do is get there and see the good folks. That's Family Leisure at I-40 and Wooden Road. As you know, it always has been, it seems, for a long time, our title and presenting sponsor. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where, again, they keep saying to me, Wolo, come check out the new Santa Fe. The 2024 Santa Fe has been rebuilt. It's better from tire to roof. It's quieter. It's bigger. It's as big almost as a Palisade with a standard third row now, which will, of course, slip down if you wanted to make the biggest trunk you've ever had in your life. It's the ultimate family car. If you test drive it, you'll want it. That's what they say. They promise me. Test drive it, you'll want it if you go to Homer Skelton Hyundai. We travel across town to talk to our friend who's in town. That is Tim Doolin. We talk baseball, and guess what? It's opening day in Memphis at AutoZone Park. Yesterday, a lot of great stories on opening day around the major leagues. Let's start with the Dodgers because you are really connected with Mookie and the Dodgers. And the biggest story has been this whole past week, the scandal. I guess that's the best way to put it. Is it gambling? Is it theft? What's going on? The interpreter of Shohei Ohtani with a 12-minute speech, which really was 6 minutes because the other 6 minutes was translation. Give me what you think the players on the Dodgers team reaction is, because I've heard everything. Like I heard this great line was Pete Rose saying, "Oh man, I should have had an interpreter." It basically alleging that Ohtani was doing like he was. I don't know anything like that, but that was the Rose contention. What do the Dodgers players really believe, Tim? Good morning.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers players are. I mean, this isn't the first time, and I'm not saying that there's been things that are of this magnitude, but I can tell you that all pro athletes have dealt with some type of their inner group of people stealing money from them, doing things that the player themselves didn't realize and didn't know. I think players are more educated these days, but I know that it goes on. So I think the player's perspective is probably one of just like, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Hopefully the media doesn't make it more crazier than it is. And I think Shohei's such a mentally strong person that I don't know that it's going to affect him. It didn't affect him yesterday, obviously, or the rest of the Dodgers. So I don't think the players are worried about it as much. I think there's more to the story for sure. And ultimately,
when you say that, what is your contention when you say there's going to be more to this story? Do you think, first of all, there was no betting on baseball? It's not, that is has never been brought up. That the interpreter was ever betting on baseball. We don't know that, Wolo. I mean, that's just what everyone's saying. We don't know the extent of it. We don't know is
if Shohei knew about it and his interpreter's the fall guy, did his interpreter have access to wire money himself to himself from Shohei's account? I mean, all those things you kind of scratch your head and go, "There's no way that could go on." It does go on, and so I think when you've got an investigation that's going to include the FBI, the IRS, the feds, and Major League Baseball, they're going to get to the bottom of it.
Oh,
and that I'm confident.
And let's not forget, I am curious, the guy that was taking the bets. What's his name? Boyer,
I don't know his name,
whatever it is, the guy that was taking the bets, $4.5 million worth that got the money. Is he going to snitch? What's going to happen in that?
Well, he's going to have to. I mean, they're going to get to the bottom of it. There's paper, there's paper trails with all of this stuff, and so it's just it's a sad deal that it happened. But I do say that Shohei did come out and I think hit it head on. And said this guy, stole from him. But the crazy thing about it is the story changed within 24 hours from the interpreter. So
yeah, right.
Something's not quite right, but we'll see. I mean, I think that Major League Baseball sure hopes that there's nothing there because Shohei Ohtani is definitely the face of Major League Baseball. There's no question about it.
All right, the Dodgers, as you said, were pretty good against the Cardinals yesterday. The Cardinals are not healthy. Look, I will tell you, I look to see who all makes these predictions on what's going to happen in each of the divisions. And the consensus is the Cubs and the Cardinals are the two teams that are going to vie for the title in the National League Central. Are you buying that or selling it?
No, I'm buying it. I think, every year we talk about it, and it's been, up until now, it's been the Brewers in that mix in the Central. So I think the Cardinals got to get healthy. I mean, they've got their several of their key players on the DL right now. Sonny Gray's on the DL. Edmonds is on the DL. So they got to get those guys back, and then and it's going to take them a little bit of time to get some continuity going back. With what their model is. They signed their young manager to an extension, so they're all in. That's for sure. And I'd love to see the Cubs back in that mix, and I think they're going to be with the new manager. And I think he's obviously been proven, and they're paying him more than anybody in the big leagues as far as salary goes. So it'll be interesting. I think one of the storylines is going to be, I think the Orioles are for real. You've got Holiday who's starting out in AAA. He's going to be in the big leagues at some point in time, and they've got so many good young prospects, Wolo, that they have the ability, if they see they're going to be in the hunt or need to go make trades to pick up an arm after the All-Star break, they've definitely got the talent in their minor leagues to do it. I think the Astros are going to be interesting to watch and see. This is Bregman's free agent year, so they're going to have to do something with him. And so I look for him to have a big year, as well as, the Dodgers. When you face those three guys, I think I saw last night that between Mookie and Ohtani and your first baseman, I think they were
Freeman
13 for 55 in their first three games. So it doesn't get easy when you go in there. You look at that lineup. They just signed their catcher to a 10-year extension. So much like the Braves have done, they've locked up probably six of their core guys for long-term deals. So we know they're not going away because they got so much money, but they've locked up their key guys. So it'll be interesting to see.
How about Arizona?
Well, I was going to mention them. I mean, last night you saw what they did.
14 runs in the third inning, first time since 1900.
They weren't a flash in the pan last year. That's what they're that's what they're telling everybody. We're here and we're going to be relevant. And like you said, last year no one would have expected them to do what they did. And Torey Lovullo's played against him. He's a great manager. He's a player's manager, and the ownership is committed to getting some of those guys. Corbin Carroll, they got locked up a couple years ago for a long-term deal, and he is definitely the energy and the spark plug in that club, and they've got some really good young pitchers as well.
I sit here. I love opening day. I always have. the A's fans who protested outside, and they came in the thousands instead of going into the ballpark. Yeah, what do you make of that? The A's, I guess, are going to be in Vegas next year, right?
Well, they're not going to be in Vegas. They're going to be out of Oakland. They were talking yesterday. The commissioner was on yesterday talking about they haven't announced where they're going to be in the interim while the stadium's being built, and that's probably a 2 or 3 year temporary location. I'm sure it's going to be in the Pacific Coast League, I would assume, to where they can get at least some interest from some of those fans in and around Nevada. But I don't know where they're going to play. But, they didn't draw well in Oakland when they were still committed to being in Oakland. So now it's going to be a long year this year, and then it's going to be a long couple of years. So they're going to take some losses. There's no doubt at the gate.
Last year, pitch clock, I thought was a success. I like it. I really do. I don't know that I'm for the extra innings putting a guy on second base, but I'm definitely for the pitch clock, and I think they like it so much now. They have shortened the time from 20 seconds to 18 seconds. You are okay with that? Also, trips to the mound by the manager, I think, used to be 5 down to 4. Isn't that the case? Those are the two biggest changes. What do you think of those?
I like them. I do. I'm with you. I think that, and we were kind of skeptical. I think both you and I were talking about it over the last couple of years, all the changes they're making, and it's going to speed the game up, big deal. But it has worked, and I'm kudos to the commissioner and his staff that did all the research to see. I'm with you. I don't like the fact you put a man on second with no outs. It almost make it feel like you're playing, at Snowden Grove Park in a USSSA youth tournament. But nonetheless, they're doing it, and it definitely creates some strategy amongst the managers. And it is what it is. I think the other thing they're changing is that I don't like is making the middle infielders on a tag cannot obstruct the line of the runner. I think there's some warrants to it to where you shouldn't be able to block the base when a guy's sliding into the base. But right now, early on, there's going to have to be some adjustments made, as long as, in my opinion, because they're calling guys safe when they did have a lane to slide into the base. So I think that rule that's just coming in this year will have to be adjusted. But other than that, I think the game's very in a great position. More fans last year than ever, and I think you're going to continue to see that.
That block in the base, that's strictly to cut down on injuries, although I don't remember that many injuries on guys breaking up a double play or even trying to steal a base.
Well, I mean, a lot of times you got guys that slide in head first, and you get hands involved because you're sliding into a guy's knee or his feet or his legs or whatever. So, I mean, I understand part of it. I really I played in an era where they're trying to tear you up on a double play
and kill you.
To me, that was I moved. I was smart enough to move around and do my pivots from different spots where I wasn't consistent with how I came across the bag. I thought that was a great aspect of the game, although it was a little bit dangerous. It is what it is. It's definitely safer now, for sure.
Yep. Tim Doolin, we'll talk more races, maybe a little bit of Redbirds next Friday. Thank you, my friend.
Sounds good. All right, have a good weekend.
That's our guy on baseball. That is Tim Doolin. He's brought to you by Shell Done. Monday is April. It's here. It's the best month, according to my guy, to sell your home. All you got to do is call Shell Done with Mark Spensdorf Realtors. While he told me the market has been crazy hot since the first of the year, what's ahead, he says, is going to be even better. There's more buyers in the market, and rates are reasonable. The only thing that won't get any better, unfortunately for him, is his golf game. They don't call him Mr. Three-Putt for nothing. I don't play on the course where he's at because you got to start looking around for hooks and slices, and he will absolutely do those, often hitting other players. But when it comes to selling homes, 180. He's as good as they get. He can even tell you. Talk to 2 or 3 guys. Just make sure that he's one of them. That's why they say, well, you want the job done, you call Sheldon. You can reach him at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. He's been known to skip a tee time to make sure that he takes care of his clients. That's why he's such a bad golfer, but he's such a great home seller. So remember, if you're thinking of selling your home, you call Sheldon. Get it done with Sheldon Rosengarten at memphisrelocate.com or at 483-0546. We take a break. To Chicago we go momentarily with our agent who's waiting. That is Andy Schiffman, and he is next.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand bottled, taste tested, sent to a few friends, then taste tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir, it's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get preseason pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hey Mid-South, it's springtime, so let's celebrate with the Gossett Mitsubishi Motor Spring Sales Event. Time to go spring breaking with 43 MPG Highway. Do it right with 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. We Gossett for only $19,110 or $259 a month. Go your own way in style with 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. We Gossett $30,150 or $449 a month. Or hit the road in 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SE $36,165 or $399.99 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, and 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Mirage RHW 6614 MSRP 1916, Eclipse RZO 32749 MSRP 30650, Outlander RZO 12807 MSRP 36165. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Response to the all-new Genesis Diamonds has been incredible. People are loving what we brought to Memphis. Genesis is a different kind of jewelry store with more jewelry than you've ever seen in one place at prices you never thought possible. What's the Genesis secret? Our owner was born and raised in the diamond industry in Tel Aviv. After selling wholesale to high-end jewelry retailers for years, he hated the insane markups they were getting away with. So he stopped selling to the stores and started selling direct to the public. That philosophy is still a core part of Genesis DNA as we continue to sell the highest quality diamonds at true no-middleman direct importer prices. With international connections and massive buying power, Genesis has what it takes to beat anyone else's price every day on every diamond. Discover the Genesis difference, forever changing how people in Memphis buy diamonds and fine jewelry. Now open at Poplar & Perkins, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We'll head to Chicago momentarily. Andy Schiffman brought to you in part by The Spirit Shop. That's Eddie Connor's place right at 4848 Poplar in St. Nick, a little log cabin down from Clark Tower. You passed by a million times. You've probably been in there. If you haven't, you'll be wowed. You'll be wowed at all of the stock that is in that little place. I'm talking everything. I'm talking every local beer. I'm talking any kind of spirit, from rare bourbon to up-and-coming great wines to everything in between. You want a rub, an accessory for a particular drink that nobody knows about that you can find out? He's got it. He's got everything you could possibly want. And it's one thing that he'll give you that others won't. Then an education. He'll tell you what's coming up, why something is really good, why something is marked up the way it is. It's a real education on spirits. And then, of course, you get to take home at the best price anything you want. All you got to do is stop by The Spirit Shop. Again, Poplar in St. Nick. Tell them we sent you. Let's head to Chicago. Our agent from Priority Sports is Andy Schiffman. One of their clients is Brandon Clark. He came back after over a year unable to play because of the Achilles. He played 21 minutes. Andy Schiffman, give me your grade on your player, Brandon Clark. Good morning.
Good morning, Dave. I think BC looked great. I'd give him an A+. I'm so proud of the guy. That is not easy to do. It's even a little more difficult mentally knowing that you're really going into what I call a throwaway season. You're really not playing for anything. And he looked great. He maximized his minutes restriction right there at 20 minutes, just over, like you said. I thought he moved very well. That's the biggest thing, right? A player like Brandon sitting out for a year, coming off of the injury that he sustained last year, you really want to evaluate his progress based on how well he's moving, how confident he's moving. And I thought he did that extremely well. I thought he looked great. He said he felt great after the game, no issues whatsoever. So you and I have talked about it before. I just think mentally going into the summer, knowing that you will have had played a number of NBA games before the offseason is so huge for him. So I could not be happier with him.
Yeah, they have obviously new medical technology. We've seen people like Mike Conley, who had an Achilles tear. He came back, and he's really up there now in age, and he just got a new deal. So I'm assuming now that with the way they treat and rehab and have the materials that they didn't have 40 years ago, that Achilles is going to be a one. If you do it right, and I'm assuming that's exactly what happened with BC, that if you do it right, you make a 100% recovery. And that's critical for a guy whose game is predicated on hops. You need that Achilles to be right.
No, absolutely. You saw that with Durant, obviously a similar injury. And you talk about NBA players, especially a player like Brandon. He's 27 years old now. And so you talk about these young men who are in their mid-20s sustaining this injury. Yes, it is disappointing when you have this happen, but I don't think it's like, as you just alluded to, the old days where you look at this as, oh my goodness, we're going to have to be out for over a year, and how's the progress going to be when you come back, and how are you going to look? And just to your point, right, BC uses his athleticism really in every area of his offensive game, and even defensively in terms of rebounding and shot blocking and just moving his feet on the perimeter. And take away the time frame. Obviously, it's a lengthy time frame you sit out. Knock on wood. Hopefully, moving forward for these players, everything else is, I don't want to say a formality, right? But you know what I mean. Just kind of like, hey, we got to let this run its course, let the recovery happen, surgery happen, etc. But you have the peace of mind knowing that when I get to that 1 year mark, hopefully even sooner, there is a high likelihood that I, as a basketball player, will be 100%.
All right, we are now in the NCAA tournament. I know you guys are NBA eccentric here, or centered here. Not eccentric, excuse me. NBA centered.
I'm very eccentric, that's for sure.
Oh, that may be true. But do you pay attention to the NCAA? Because obviously you're looking at guys that are going to be coming into the league. Who has impressed you? I got to ask you something. Like, I know Grant Nelson is this, underachieving kind of a guy for most of them. Well, I shouldn't say underachieving, just under the radar kind of a guy who came from South Dakota.
North Dakota State.
And all of a sudden looked like Superman yesterday.
Sure.
In their surprising win over North Carolina. And Grant Nelson was really the biggest part of it. Is that a guy you think can be an NBA guy? Zach Edey is another guy that we're going to be watching a whole bunch of. There's the dilemma. Would he be a guy that could replace Steven Adams in terms of screen setting and rebounding and that sort of thing? I don't know if he's quick enough to be an NBA guy. Tell me about the guys that have impressed you the most so far in this tournament.
Well, first to your point in Zach, as it relates to the Grizzlies, could he be a guy to come in and replace Steven Adams? Yes. Now, the Grizzlies are going to have a lottery pick, and let's just say that pick ends up being in the top 10. As a member of Priority Sports who is going to be representing Zach Edey, I'd love to tell you that he's going to be looked at as a top 10. I don't think he'll go quite that high, and I don't believe Zach Edey will be still on the board by the time that you get to the Grizzlies' second-round picks. But if they can maneuver, which you've seen the Grizzlies do at times, and end up somewhere maybe in the late teens or early 20s with another pick, I do think Zach is someone that the Grizzlies will covet. They liked him last year coming out when he was evaluating whether it makes sense to stay in the draft or not when he went through the testing process. And Zach Edey really, really helped himself going back this year. I think the biggest thing is, I think from afar, right, people look at Edey's game and just say, well, he's a slow-footed big man. What can he really do defensively? But he's a better defender than you give him credit for. I think in today's NBA, you can absolutely adjust your defense to play with him in your lineup and protect him where he's just not going to get beat every possession. There's something in terms, a lot of it's just based on how you guard pick and roll, right? And a lot of this NBA terminology is called drop coverage, where you do have a big man that when the pick and roll happens in the middle of the court, your big man, instead of pushing up to stay with a quicker, smaller, more athletic guard, you drop back a little bit, and the rest of your defense as a team just kind of picks up the slack and protects your big man from maybe getting beat or drawing a stupid foul. But to that point, Zach is so skilled offensively. It's just his whole feel. He does everything very well. And so I do think that you'll see Zach, you'll feel very confident you'll see him go in the first round. I think he would be a good get for the Grizzlies to replace Steven Adams. But another guy who I think that will be available and right in his wheelhouse in terms of where he'll be drafted is Kyle Filipowski with Duke. Right. We'll see him tonight. I know the Grizzlies do like him. He brings a lot to the table as well. So I think he could be a target for the Grizzlies. I know
he's not a top 10 guy, though. If the Grizzlies
do
get that
top 10, top 10 guy.
You think Filipowski could be?
Absolutely. He could be. I'm not saying definitively, but again, you talk about this draft. There's really no coveted, heralded top 1, top 2, top 3 pick that is universally thought of as a game changer. I think Kyle Filipowski could go in that 8 to 16, 17 range in the draft. And I want to get back to Grant Nelson because I know his game very well. So he was at North Dakota State last year. He popped on people's radar last year, Dave, because he had this viral moment where he was just showing off these athletic dunks at North Dakota State. And again, like everyone looks good in a highlight package, maybe except you and me. But there was just a tweet about him and how athletic he was. And he had certain people in the basketball world, in the media side of things, tweeting about him. And at that point, everyone gets excited because they see this very long, skilled 6'11" guy with that athleticism that can move like a guard. Sure, that piques everybody's interest. And I think Grant did what he should have done, transfer up to a bigger program. He's at Alabama. But look, like long-term, big picture, is this guy absolutely an NBA player? No. Could he be? Yes, he could definitely be. I think if he does decide to enter the draft this year, he's a 4-year senior, so he does always have that extra 5th year of eligibility. If he does stay in the draft, as of today, I see him being somewhere in the second round at best, but I'm not going to definitively say he is a second-round pick. There's always a chance he could go undrafted, maybe get a two-way. Again, that could change when you go through the pre-draft process. You really look good at the combine. You really excel in pre-draft workouts. To your point, he had a phenomenal second half of the game last night, really changed the game. I know he missed a big free throw at the end, but then he kind of saved the game-tying effort, right, made that block. And I think that was nothing more than just being at the right place at the right time and using his length. But he's averaged 12 points on the season. He's shot 27%, which is not great. And I think in today's NBA world, even if you are 6'11", you really have to be over 34, 35% if you're going to be thought of as an NBA player, unless you do one other thing that is just absolutely elite. And he doesn't. And yes, he really popped yesterday. But you look at these last two games, he was a combined 1 for 7 shooting in the first couple tournament games they played. But again, he's on a really good team. He brings a lot of physical attributes. He needs to get stronger. So I don't ever want to write off a player saying there's no chance he plays in the NBA. I think he definitely, you caught him on a good night yesterday, but big picture, I don't know if this guy's like a locked NBA player moving forward.
Two other guys that are post players. Baycott, North Carolina, Klingon, Connecticut. Where will they end up being after college?
Well, Armando Baycott has been at UNC. I mean, obviously he's a fifth-year senior. He's played there for a while now. No more eligibility left. I do like his high motor, his energy. I think, obviously, look, he is a big. He's 6'11". He primarily plays around the basket. But again, you look at guys in the NBA at that size, and I just talked about, well, if you don't do anything elite, you're really going to have to shoot the ball at a high clip. But that's not Armando's game. And what he does very well is just bring constant energy. He's averaging a double-double on the season. I do think there is a place for him in the NBA in terms of, hey, we have a second-round pick or we have a two-way available. We can go out and get this guy. And yes, he is a little bit older, but the age thing really only matters if you're drafting in the top 10 or top 15. When you get into the later part of the first round and the second round, Dave, there is a positive, in my opinion, in terms of getting someone that is NBA ready. You can go out there and nab an Armando Baycott and develop him at the NBA level, but you know he's game ready. He's going to give you high energy, high motor every night, crash the glass, and make that his niche. Don't worry about scoring. That's not what he's going to be asked to do at the NBA. Just bring energy, defend, and rebound. And I do think it's possible we'll see him in the NBA, but again, similar to Grant, it's not a surefire no-brainer. And Klingon, I just think the guy's overrated. I've watched him a lot. I think he really was on a lot of people's radar going into the season as a lottery pick. I never saw it last year, and there's no question he's a good player. He's big. He's had a lot of good moments. I just think at the next level, if he is being thought of or expecting to go in the lottery in this draft, I don't see it happening. I think maybe he ends up somewhere in the late 20s to the 30s. I think that is highly likely. Or does he decide, I'm trying to see what year he is. I believe he's only a sophomore. Does he decide to go back to school if you're not going to be a locked first round? Depends on who all is in his ear.
With the way NIL money is now,
exactly.
He'd be crazy not to stay and maybe win another championship, for goodness sake.
Go enjoy being a college student at UConn. And again, like, he's had a good year, not a great year, but he's on a great team. And you have to weigh these things, right? If I'm not a locked first rounder, does it make sense to put my name in the draft and stay in, with knowing there is a risk of maybe, at the very least, I think the guy gets a two-way, which is over $500,000, or can you make more going back to UConn and really help yourself and just continue to develop and then do this again next year? But look, it is a relatively weaker draft like we talked about. So there is, on the one hand, there's something to be said for all these guys we're talking about, and so many more entering the draft, because it's a down draft, and I believe in myself. And if I, in any other given year, maybe would be picked in the late 30s, early 40s, maybe this year I can squeak into the first round. The difference is, are you NBA ready? I talked about this yesterday to another team I was talking to about another player, and a player I'm recruiting. They said there's no question the kid's a top 20 pick, but there's also no question he's not NBA ready. He is not ready to be inserted into a high-level game and produce. So is it really worth for any of these guys going in with the expectation that you're probably going to spend a lot of time your first year in the G League when you could be back at a Power 5 school playing 25, 30 minutes a night on national TV twice a week and doing what we're doing here in March, going into the NCAA tournament, making a deep run?
And I would assume more money, too. I mean, let's face it.
And more money,
if you're a G League guy, you're making $42,000 or
$42,000, yeah. Well, if you're drafted and then sent to the G League, again, is that really worth it? Though? Because,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll find out who. I had no idea Zach Edey's your guy. You're so So humble, my goodness. Zach Edey's your guy. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. Thank you, Andy. Enjoy the rest of the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight games this weekend.
You as well. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. That is Andy Schiffman, our man in Chicago, brought to you by Matt Eflin. You know, Andy Schiffman was once a part of the U of M team. The collaboration that is the theme of insurance from Matt Eflin. He likes to collaborate with the Tigers, too. Big supporter of the U of M program. That's why in his phone number, 901-386-GRR for Tigers. That's 4777 386-4777. Get to know Matt because he's going to get to know you. That's how he protects you and your home. Life insurance, auto insurance, mortgage. All protected by a guy who gets to know you and your budget to make sure you're taken care of completely. Same with small to mid-sized businesses. They'll get to know you, your product, your employees, what your budget is, and then he finds the perfect commercial insurance to protect your business entity. Again, please make the call, 901-386-GRR. Get protected the collaborative way with the Eflin Insurance Team. Back in a minute, we end our week, as always, with Brian Dacus. He's right around the corner.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Spring is in the air, and so are the savings at Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Hi, this is Lauren Choate. As we welcome clearer skies and brighter days, it's the perfect time to clear up something else, your home's air quality. Right now, for a limited time only, get a free dryer vent cleaning with every air duct cleaning service. Did you know that cleaning your air ducts can not only improve your home's air quality, but also increase your HVAC system's efficiency? Well, it's not just about efficiency. It's about safety and reducing the risk of dryer fires significantly. With Choate's expert technicians, you can rest assured that your air ducts and dryer vent will be cleaned thoroughly, leaving your home safer in your air pressure. All it takes to breathe easier and save? Just one call to Choate's. But hurry, this offer won't last forever. Schedule your air duct cleaning service today. Give us a call at 347-8086 or visit us online, choateshvac.com. Choates, let our family serve your family.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE72, 39.85, MSRP 22,320. Sportage R724, 7640, MSRP 29,635. Telluride RG 49.9963, MSRP 41,005. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/1/2024. Dealer stock only.
Hey, it's my man Jeff Allen bringing sweet deals from Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Hey, Randy, I've got a 2024 Kia Forte LXS that gets 41 mpg highway, and you can hit the road for just $219 a month.
That's awesome. What else you got?
2024 Kia Sportage LX, $289 a month. Both 36-month lease and $34.99 due at signing. Or go big in a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $429 a month. 36-month lease and $39.99 due at signing.
Plus, get peace of mind with the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
We're online 24/7, KiaMountMoriah.com.
You watch sports. You listen to sports. Now let's talk sports. Are you a huge sports fan with always something to say but only a few listeners? Well, not anymore, because Sports 56 is opening the airwaves overnight. From 12 midnight till 6 a.m. for people like you to talk sports during your own 1-hour radio talk show on Sports After Dark. That means for 1 hour, you can tell us what's really on your mind regarding sports. Your favorite sports team, your favorite player, discuss pre-games, post-games, all games. Let's talk. Orientation is required. Interested applicants must contact the podcast center at gmail.com or call 901-468-3097. That's the podcast center at gmail.com or 901-468-3097. Amateur and professional talk show hosts encouraged to apply.
Required orientation is Saturday, April 13th, or you can take it online.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm here with Mark, the owner of Dyer's, out in Collierville's historic town square, where they've been cooking up them burgers since 1912, the old-fashioned way. Mark, what's going on in life? I see you got your 4 kids with you. What do they love about Dyer's?
Man, they love everything about Dyer's. They love all the great food that we serve, and they really like eating our good food and watching some of their favorite sports.
Braden, what do you like at Dyer's?
I like a bacon burger with fries, a milkshake, and with a Tigers game in the background.
Carter, who's your favorite football team?
The Carolina Panthers, and just with some macaroni with that sounds amazing.
My man Beckham, what's your favorite food over at Dyer's?
We like the double cheeseburgers.
Kinley, what is your favorite dish over at Dyer's?
Daddy's cheeseburgers and the Dallas Cowboys game in the background.
Just remember, everybody, bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team out and eat at our place.
So head on over to Dyer's in Collierville's historic town square.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Take me to the pilot of your soul. Take me to the pilot.
We always end our Fridays with Brian Takis. You're listening every day on Sports Time with Brett Norsworthy. That is from 3 until 6, but he makes his Friday appearance with us. Okay, here we go. Portal news for the Tigers, because we know there's got to be a bunch coming in that way. What's the latest? I rely on you for this portal news.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You know, I was talking about it yesterday with Brett and Greg Gaston joins us on Thursday. We were kind of talking about it. It's kind of weird this year. It seems like every year, and the transfer portal is so weird because you have so many players that enter the transfer portal, and then you kind of almost rely on these social media accounts that reach out to all these players and ask them, what teams have contacted you, what teams have shown interest in you, and then you get these, massive lists of, 15, 20 teams that have contacted a player, and then that's kind of where you kind of figure out who Memphis is going after. And it seems like in previous years, especially last year when we saw Penny Hardaway just have to do the whole, roster turnaround, it seemed like first couple of days of the portal, Memphis was in on everybody. I mean, there'd be like 50 kids out there that had interest from Memphis. This year, that's not the case. I mean, it's far less. There's only a handful of guys that I've seen that Memphis has shown interest in. And so I think Penny Hardaway is trying to be a little more diligent and kind of, instead of casting that wide net, kind of limit it down a little bit, try to figure out who he likes. I know the James Madison transfer that a lot of people have talked about. He just entered the portal the other day after his head coach, Terrence Edwards Jr. He entered the portal. He's averaging about 17 points a game last year at James Madison. Really good player. He's in the portal. Memphis contacted him.
And he's like a 6'4" guard, right?
Mm-hmm. I think 6'5" or 6'6". So he's a big guard. He's one guy that I know a lot of people have been saying Memphis is really interested in. I said it last week. I haven't seen any updates, but I saw one report that said Memphis was in on Doug McDaniels from Michigan.
He's the point guard, right?
The point guard for them. He's their leading scorer. Haven't seen anything change on that. Colby Rogers from Wichita State has entered the portal. Memphis is interested in him. There's a lot of guys that Memphis is interested in. It seems like right now more guards than anything, but we're still seeing a lot of guys enter the transfer portal, and I think Penny Hardaway is going to try to take his time. But it is interesting that it isn't as many people, and we haven't seen a lot of announced visits for these guys in the transfer portals that have interest for Memphis.
We did get a lot of speculation because David Jones knows Yaxel.
That's right, Lindenborg. Yes.
Lindenborg at UAB. Well, Lindenborg put out a tweet thing, which basically said, "I'm staying." I forget. It was cute the way he did it, which I'm sure made UAB fans really very happy because the kid's a legitimately good player. I was thinking there was a chance that he was coming, but some people have viewed that now that David Jones is not coming back. What is your sense on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take anything into that. I mean, David Jones, it was kind of the fun storyline throughout the season of seeing the camera pan down to the handshake line, and David Jones is in, usually the leading scorer, the best player on the other team. He's in their ear talking, everyone's speculating, oh, he's trying to get them, that that guy has more eligibility. He's trying to get them to Memphis. And so, for Yaxel, I know a lot of people were hoping, and Yaxel did the whole thing where he, tweeted out the night before tomorrow and,
right.
Got everyone excited about which way he was going to go.
Kid's a good marketing guy.
It really is. He knows what he's doing. But I think that's more, Andy Kennedy is a really good coach and has certainly been around the game for a long time. And I think, I think just was able to get him back to UAB. And I don't want to put any speculation on that decision based on David Jones, because what I've been hearing, it sounds like, it's a really good possibility that David Jones returns.
Sure hope so. That would be fun.
Yeah.
The Tiger football team is 3 weeks away from the spring game. What do you expect from that? What do you want to see? I know people. It's all going to be on the west side, where the press box side is. Of course, everything's moving. I guess after that, I don't know what the showboats are doing. Where they're going to put the press. That'll be interesting to see. But what are you really interested in seeing from the spring game?
Yeah, I'm excited to see a lot of the newcomers. They went out and brought in a lot of transfers, and so I'm curious to see what those guys look like. We know how spring games are. You're not going to see a ton. It's going to be very vanilla and just kind of basic play calls and stuff like that. But it's going to be fun to see them out there, and I know everyone's going to be excited to see Seth Hennigan and his new number, changing to number 9.
15-0 in high school in that number.
Hey,
baby.
Why not? So a good number to end his collegiate career on. But no, I'm excited. All the transfers they brought a lot of offensive linemen in to kind of solidify that. Brought in some weapons. So I'm excited to see how those guys have progressed. Reading some of the reports from camp, it sounds like there's a lot of excitement around this team, both obviously the fan base, but also in the locker room and in the coaching staff. And so I'm excited to see how those guys have meshed in after all of these spring practices.
Good story on Chandler Martin too, who was the best defensive player the Tigers had last year, and he was injured the whole year.
Crazy.
So now it's cleaned up. If he's even better, that bodes well. I can't wait to see the new offensive line, because that's going to be as critical as you get. I love the running back room. Looks like wide receivers are going to be pretty good. They got the transfer. They got that freshman who's not here yet. Should be a lot of fun. Thank you,
Thank you,
my friend. We appreciate it. We'll see you next Friday. Yeah. That is Bryant Dacus. You listened to him today with Brett from 3 to 6. In this final portion of this week, brought to you by the good folks at Grind City Brewing. Go check their website. Go see and check out and see if there is some sort of a show. They do all kinds of events at these beautiful grounds just north of Memphis. You get a view of the skyline. You get a view of the bridges. They got this beautiful Greenland area with picnic tables and umbrellas. And then there's the building itself.
I'll be there next week for a concert.
Oh, you will?
Which
concert?
It is the Grind City Music Fest. And so that's out there.
Isn't that something? Isn't it? Tell people how beautiful this place is.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I'm so excited. I got these tickets for Christmas, actually. My girlfriend got them for me. One of my favorite artists, Charlie Crockett's going to be there. So I've been down there a couple of times, and I'm really excited how they, seeing the pictures from last year, how they set up the stage and have everybody, you kind of go in and out and get drinks and stuff. It looks like it's really cool. I'm excited.
Take it from Dacus. You got to get there, and when you get there, order the Poppy's Pills. You'll love that, or the God Hopper if you like pale ales. You can get the Amber Lager. That is the fattiest. There's the Belga if you like Blue Moon. They got it all. Grind City, including entertainment at a beautiful venue. It's Grind City Brewing, taking care of beerness in Memphis for a long time now. We'll see you Monday. Have a great Easter weekend, everybody.